So, should you spend the time to read Way of the Wolf? Is it worth it? If you want to find out, watch this video. Man, Dan Lok is gonna freaking kill me. I'm talking about one of his competitors. If you guys don't know, this is Jordan Belfort. He is Dan Lok's competitor, but I actually love this book. My name is Kevin, and welcome to this new series that I'm calling Hustler's Library. Basically, I talk about different books that are on my library shelf and see if they're worth a read or not. And trust me, I've read a lot of good books. I've read a lot of shit books. And so I want to go over 5 things. I want to go over who I recommend it for, what it's about, when it came into my life, why I'm talking about it, and how I'm using it. So make sure you watch this full video. By the way, before we get into everything, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification for my channel, just so that you get updated on all my Hustler Library series as well, right? I want you to watch the whole thing. I don't want you to miss a single episode, right? So anyways, let's jump into it. Also, if this review helped you make up your decision to buy this book, please use my affiliate link. It goes back into my channel so I can make more kick-ass content for you guys. All right, back to the video. So let's start off with the first thing. Who would I recommend it to? Chances are, if you are reading books like these, you're probably into sales, or maybe you just finished a training like HTC or something, which is Dan Lok's high ticket closer course, which ironically this is actually Dan Lok's competitor. If you don't know who Jordan Belfort is, really interesting story. You can watch literally Wolf on Wall Street. And I was watching documentaries about this guy, and a lot of those stories are freaking true. Like going across the Atlantic and having his boat topple over and getting rescued by like Italian Navy SEALs or whatever. That is all true. So it's a really funny movie. And at first glance, I wasn't a real big fan of Jordan Belfort at all. I didn't really like his closing style. But I think it's really important for anyone who wants to be able to influence, or maybe sales is your full-time thing. It's important to learn from different people, right? I guarantee you, Dan Lok has probably read this book too. And even if you are not into sales, I highly recommend this book too. I would also recommend it to anyone who wants to persuade people or influence people, because especially in leadership positions. Why? Because when you're in a leadership position, you're always going to need to sell your vision. You're always going to need to sell yourself to other people. So I think it's really, really important, and I would highly recommend it for people in those positions as well. Hey, just wanted to do this little interlude while I was editing this video. I just had this realization. You know, when you are closing people, or when you are running a team, they have to have trust with you, trust with your company that you're running and the vision that it has going forward, and trust with what you want them to do, whether this is actually helping them get to their goals. Learned a lot of things from people like Jocko Willink. I thought that was really good. So what is this book about? It's about Jordan Belfort's straight line method. Very, very interesting. He has a few videos that talk about it, but it really goes in depth, right? There's a few chapters. It talks about a straight line method. So the whole thing is making sure that the whole conversation doesn't go to Pluto or doesn't go to Uranus, meaning it doesn't like diverge off into another world that's unrelated to sale or call. One of the reasons why I like it is because it's a very consultative type of style of closing. And I think it worked beautifully with Dan Lok's high ticket closer system as well. It's helped me really focus my calls, but I'll talk about a little bit more about that later. And one of the concepts I love in this book is that it talks about the three things that the prospect needs to trust before moving on with the call. They need to have trust with the problem or solution that you're offering. They need to have trust with the brand that it's coming from. And they need to have trust with you, the person on the phone or the person that's talking to them. If you are missing any of those 3, then there's no deal, right? And I love this concept. It really helped me be able to focus a lot more. Let's just jump into it. How have I been using it? So I think like back before, during my closing calls, or even when I talk to other businesses, I would just not really wing it, but I didn't really have a strict structure. And one of the things that I think Jordan Belfort is really great, even if you watch his initial calls on YouTube, is that he gets right into it right away while seemingly build into a rapport, right? I feel like my calls are more focused. So right when I jump on a call, I'll just be like, hey, I have about 60 minutes. What exactly can I do for you today? Right? That sets the agenda. And then what I like to do from there is kind of see how familiar they're with the product and brand. So if it's for a client, I'll just be like, hey, just kind of curious, how exactly did you find out about XYZ? All right. And if they say something like, well, I've only been following for like 2 days or something, I have to ask, well, would you feel comfortable learning from someone that you just found out about? Right? So I think it's a great way to refer people to more content. If they don't know anything about the brand, the company or anything like that, I always like to refer them so that they're highly aware of what the brand is all about, right? For example, there's a lot of different business models out there. There's a lot of trading, there's Amazon FBA, there's closing, there's marketing. There's so many different things out there, right? How do you know if that business model is the right one for you? If somebody goes on a call and they have no idea what it is, how can they be expected to build trust with that product, right? That product is really the solution for them. And if you get enough of those calls, I like to talk to my client and just be like, hey, we need more awareness about these things within the marketing, right? Because my goal for every single client that I have is to have a 40% close ratio within the first 3 to 4 months. And that only comes with optimizing marketing, and that's where the closers come in. So that's how I've been using it. And actually my calls have been a lot more effective and a lot more focused. And I feel like people don't feel so anxious, because let me ask you, how often have you been on a call where it's kind of like, man, we're talking about my mom, we're talking about my family, but dude, are we just killing time? I really want to talk about the thing. We're making sure that everything that we're talking about is relatable to the product or service, right? When did it come into my life and how exactly did I find out about this book? I actually found out about this book through my friend Tom Nguyen, aka Lessons Unlocked. Check out his YouTube channel. But I learned it from him. He told me about it because I was recommending Never Split the Difference and we were just sharing books. And he was like, man, I've been implementing this strategy and my calls have been going way better. So anything that comes from him, I really pay attention and listen to it. I think in the past, like if it wasn't for his recommendation, I probably would have never read this book, because, you know, like I didn't really like Jordan Belfort's style at all, but there's something that you can learn from everyone. And I realized that, I don't know what was going through my head, but I'm so glad I read this book, and it was really a life changer for me, not even for closing calls, but even for my personal relationships, because I'm able to deliver clear value toward people. And let's go into the last thing. So why am I talking about this book today? I love it because Jordan Belfort's story is so fucking crazy. Like I said, I found out through him through the Wolf of Wall Street movie, and it's a clear and quick and practical read. It was really literally hard for me to put it down, and I was just taking notes the whole time. And if you are a closer, if you're anything like that, make sure that you have a notebook set aside and just take really good notes, because guaranteed there will be something from this book that you can actually apply. I always like to say, you know, books are great, but it doesn't do jack shit for you unless you actually go ahead and apply the knowledge that you learn from books, right? Anyways, let me ask you, have you read this book? What are your thoughts on it? And what are your biggest takeaways from this book as well? I would love to hear your thoughts, and also make sure to binge my whole Hustler Library series. I really want this series to do well, and since I'm a bookworm too, I'm a book nerd, I just want to share these great books with you. So let me know in the comments what books you want me to review, because chances are I probably have the book on my bookshelf somewhere, you know. So, and finally, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hey Noah, Do you think Dan Locke will be like pissed at Hey Noah, do you think Dan Locke's gonna be pissed at me for reviewing this book?
I think he's read it.
Yeah, probably he's read it, man, and probably he's taken a few things, man. I don't know, man. I'll get a nasty email from the team Dan Locke. Delete this. Hey Dan Locke, I still love you. Don't get offended for me reviewing this book. It really goes well with your system, man, if you made it this far. Hey guys, if you made it this far, just wanted to ask you a separate bonus. What books do you want me to review? Please comment below, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.